What's going on, guys? This is Mikeinoid, and today we are going to talk about my favorite Skylander of all time. Now, if I haven't been clear about what Skylanders is before, Skylanders is an action-adventure game with RPG elements that use real-life toys as playable characters, specifically Skylanders. You know, the name of the game. Now, there were a lot of figures to collect. All 6 mainline games had their own roster of characters. Some were only released in their respective series, and some got multiple releases with some minor differences. Skylanders are made of all types of mythical creatures and species of animals. You have birds, dragons, robots, different colored people, a artichoke. You have to hand it to the developers. Most of these characters are unique and very few of their playstyles overlap. Over 150 unique Skylanders were made in the franchise's lifespan, so there's plenty of Skylanders to call a favorite. For the longest time of me being a Skylanders fan, I didn't really have a favorite Skylander. Like, my go-to answer will always be Spyro. He was the first Skylander I ever used, so I used him to give a satisfying answer. But I didn't have a Skylander I can just always use no matter what. One that I can go through an entire Skylanders game with. I mean, when you have this many figures, it only makes sense to use as many as you can. But it wasn't until I got back into the series last year, when I was revisiting the Skylander games after 5 years. I still used as many different Skylanders as I could to play those games, but it allowed me to find the one character that stands out to me. The one I can fully appreciate their moveset, their design, their personality. The one I can call my favorite Skylander. I've been asked what my favorite Skylander is a bunch of times now. It's even been assumed that my favorite Skylander is Food Fight for whatever reason. No. My favorite Skylander is, of course, Hammer Slam Bowser. Now, I understand that this is a controversial opinion here with a lot of room for debate, so let's start by introducing the character. An introduction? It's Bowser! Okay, no, seriously. King Bowser Koopa is the main antagonist of the Super Mario Bros. Series. His first appearance was Super Mario Bros. For the NES and has been in a plethora of Nintendo titles since. Bowser is easily the most recognizable video game villain ever, despite the fact that he's not always doing villainous things. This guy plays tennis, drives karts, plays hockey. He's even been the hero of his own story at one point. So the fact that Activision and Vicarious Visions were able to get such a recognizable character to be featured in the Skylanders universe just elevates the franchise. And they didn't just get Bowser. Oh no. They went ahead and got Donkey Kong, another classic Mario villain. And yes, he's considered a Mario villain. This guy has been throwing barrels at Mario for years. But we've seen Donkey Kong be a hero multiple times in his own games before. We see Bowser goofing around with Mario and a lot of other stuff, but we hardly ever see him be the good guy. Skylanders gives him the chance, the opportunity to do the right thing, instead of just kidnapping princesses and fairies at one point. Because if he doesn't, the darkness would eventually end up taking over other worlds, including Bowser's kingdom, so you know, he kinda has to. So even though getting these iconic characters was a huge win for Skylanders, some people weren't able to use them. Hammer Slam Bowser alongside turbocharged Donkey Kong and their vehicles and variations are exclusive to Nintendo consoles. These figures are usable on the Wii, Wii U, and the Switch in Superchargers and Imaginators. There is no way you're able to use these figures on PlayStation or Xbox consoles, which still haunts non-Nintendo Skylander fans today. As one of the few people who owned a Wii U back in the day, I really didn't have an issue with these characters being exclusive. I was ahead of the curve, and I have to admit, it was nice to be rewarded for owning this damn console. It's easy to forget nowadays since Nintendo has been successful with the Switch system, but times were tough when the Wii U was the flagship console. People were just not buying this thing. It wasn't the consumer's fault. Nintendo called it the Wii U. Wii Fit, Wii Sports, Wii Play, Wii Music. It's easy to assume that the Wii U was just another accessory or game. No one knew it was a separate console. I mean, Nintendo's marketing didn't really help. Even though the Wii sold pretty well, let's face it, a lot of people just played Wii Sports a couple times and called it a day. The Wii was always criticized for not being as powerful as the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people did buy the Wii, but everybody was just gaming on Microsoft's and Sony's consoles instead. And the Wii U definitely wasn't as powerful as the Xbox One and PS4, therefore a lack of good quality third-party titles. So yeah, Nintendo lended Bowser and Donkey Kong to the Skylanders franchise in order to sell the Wii U. And you know what? There were individuals that bought a Wii U just to play as them in Superchargers.
Back in the day, I actually picked up a Wii U just so I could play Skylanders with those characters, but then I didn't really use it for anything else, so I ended up selling it.
I know people still see this as a scummy move, making some characters lock behind certain consoles. I mean, we're still seeing this business move happen even today, but Nintendo still needed to stay competitive with their overpowered competition. They needed a reason for Skylanders fans to play on their console, at least their updated console. I mean, for some reason, Skylander fans were still playing on the Wii, using their characters that they're so protective over. If Nintendo wasn't in rough shape, I don't think we would have seen these characters in the Skylanders franchise. Nintendo and Activision were even in competition in the Toys to Life market, so for them to work together and merge these characters into Sky-amiibo is almost unbelievable if I didn't see it for myself. Sky-amiibo is a term used to describe Hammerslam Bowser and turbocharged Donkey Kong. They both have the ability to be used as a Skylander and an amiibo by just turning the base. This feature alone makes these figures much more valuable. 1 second you're fighting trolls and racing, then you just turn the base and then you're fighting that figure in Smash. God damn, that's just so good. And amiibo can be used in a bunch of different games too, which just makes these figures even more useful. Of course, now you have to worry about Skylander fans and amiibo collectors when trying to buy these figures, but the regular versions aren't too pricey. There are different amiibos of Bowser you can get too, but Hammerslam Bowser is still the coolest figure in my opinion. Now we can talk about the gameplay and design of Hammerslam Bowser. This is where Bowser won me over Donkey Kong. When Vicarious Visions and Nintendo revealed Bowser and Donkey Kong's inclusion in Superchargers, they spent a lot more time talking about Bowser, as if they gave him more thought into his character. They could have easily stuck with the source material and played it safe by using Giga Bowser from the Smash series, which would have been awesome for sure, but Nintendo insisted on doing something different with him, giving him unique abilities and attacks, make him feel like he's an actual Skylander. So Vicarious Visions ended up making the most lethal Skylander alive. Bowser was given armor pieces with a hammer, which pays tribute to the times he throws hammers at Mario. Bowser's moveset is just incredible. He got the basic hammer swing move called Hammer Slam, duh. It's simple, but it hits hard and is satisfying to hit enemies with. You're able to summon Koopa Troopas that can attack enemies on their own, or you can hit those dumb turtles with a hammer and send them flying all over the place. And then they go further by being able to turn into dry bones when Bowser becomes Molten Bowser, a version of Bowser that is just unique to this franchise alone. Bowser becomes this rage of fire that destroys everything and everyone in his path. Both upgrade paths are really good. The Molten Monstrosity just adds more destruction to Molten Bowser with the infinite fire, but I personally like the Koopa Commander path. I mean, you can summon a warp pipe of Paratroopas. How freaking cool is that? I bet you guys can guess what my favorite vehicle is in Superchargers. The Clown Cruiser. It's just the perfect vehicle for Bowser. It represents the character perfectly with the different modifications it uses. The clown face, the bonsai bill, dry bones, and the flying fortress. And just being able to shoot someone down with a bonsai bill. Oh my god, man, it's crazy. Now, I'm not saying Hammerslam Bowser is the best overall Skylander you can use. Yeah, he's powerful, but he's not the fastest, agile character out there. Bowser's a pretty big dude, so he's gonna get hit a lot easier than other Skylanders. But Bowser was given such a fun moveset and incredible look. I just enjoy using him in the 2 Skylander games you can use him in. I'm not trying to convince anyone to go out and buy the figure, let alone a Wii U or a Switch just to play as him. I'm not trying to convince anyone to like him or tell you that he's a good Skylander to use. Everyone has their own opinions, their own reasons to like certain Skylanders over others. And yeah, I know I sound biased when talking about one of my favorite video game characters of all time, but when it comes to favorites, that's usually when people are a little bit biased. These are just my reasons why Hammerslam Bowser is my favorite Skylander of all time. Yeah, he's not an original character that Toys for Bob or Vicarious Visions created, but he was still given powers and a look that made him fit in the Skylanders universe. To me, this figure represents a time where Nintendo needed to do something drastic to get them out of a place where their CEO needed to take a 50% pay cut after major losses. A time where Nintendo's hardware was struggling in the video game market. A time where 2 of my favorite franchises worked together and made an amazing figure that's desired by so many people beyond the Skylanders community. Hammerslam Bowser is my favorite Skylander for those reasons. I don't know, but then again, he is the reason why Skylanders is technically connected to the Fortnite universe. Well, that's going to be it for today's video. Let me know which Skylander is your all-time favorite down in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching, and of course, I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. I managed to get the Dark Hammer Slam Bowser. I just wish I got the Wedding Amiibo too.